All right, that is our first sale. All right, I finally decided I'm gonna make everything public. You see, I have been working on my third app for the past month. I used Weweb and Xano to build this app called Instagram.ai. This app lets you upload few selfies and the AI model will generate beautiful portraits of you. And as you can see on the screen, I'm using Elon as a test here. The app was launched using Facebook ads and I even got my first customer. While I built the app, I also did something. I screen recorded the entire process from scratch using Weweb and Xano. I showed how to build everything I have built inside the app, the authentication, the integrations, the AI models, everything. And not just that. I remember my first two apps, I had partners because I didn't know how to take care of marketing. I didn't know how to take care of the distribution. So what I did was I run my own Facebook ads for the third app, and I also got my first customer using Facebook ads. So I'm also including that in this free YouTube series. If you're watching this video, that means you are probably watching one of the videos from the set series. So if you want to watch the full series, I will have a playlist of that in my YouTube channel. And if you want to work with me or my team, you can also look at the links in the description and get in touch with me as well. By the way, before you jump into the video, a word of caution. These videos are filmed raw. That means there is very minimal editing, almost no editing. So there will be a lot of head scratches. There will be moments where I don't know what the heck to do. So I'll be thinking and, doing stupid things, but eventually we figure it out, right? If you're watching the series, that means the app was launched and we made our first sale and the user is happy with that. All right. So with that said, let's jump into the series. Thank you. Now let's start building our endpoint. I think that would be the next best logical step. The endpoint which Weweb will use to communicate with our Xano to create a model. All right, so obviously we will create a group and we'll call it models. All right, and this one is for creating models and deleting models, the API group. Okay, so we are going to Swagger. Yeah, we don't need that. We will add a custom endpoint and we'll call it create model. We're gonna do a post. Authentication should be enabled. Yeah, we need to enable it. I think at least at the beginning stage, we will just disable authentication because it's gonna be a pain when we test if we enable authentication. But once we build this out, when we start testing, after we have the whole thing, we will obviously turn on the authentication. Okay. All right. So what are the things they are going to send in? Obviously, they will send in the model name. Model name will be a single file. Then they will obviously send in the files. Where is it? Storage, file resource. This will be a list. So image files. That's what they send. All right. What else are they going to send? I don't think anything else. Okay. So they send model name, image files. That is good. Now, what's the first thing we got to do? We have to create the zip file, right? So we have a function for that. This is the best part about creating functions. Instead of writing the whole thing in one endpoint, we will make use of functions. In my other app, I have close to 70 functions, believe it or not. I create functions for almost all the things because we never know which ones are we gonna reuse. All right. The other app is a bit complex app, so yeah, we will need that number of functions. So first thing is we will create the zip file. All right. So we will create zip file. Do you see this? This is a custom function. We can access it here. And model name would be model name. Images will be image files. So when we run this function, it's going to give zip file URL as an output. All right. So basically
Now just for testing, even if we run this, so you know what, let's just test this right away. So model name Abby. If I run this right now, I should get a zip file. Oops. I think I screwed up somewhere. Let's see. Oh yeah, not images. It should be image files because that's the name of the file resource. Now when I run this, I should get a zip file URL with a zip file that contains all these things. So open that. All right. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. Photo of Abby, photo of Abby, photo of Abby. So we are generating the zip file, right? So that's the first part that is complete. As soon as the zip file is generated, I want to start building the model. But when building model, that is when we do this add records in model, right? I don't really want to do this here. I better do it here. So I'm gonna no, I guess it's still fine. I am going to add fal create model, and model name would be it will be the model name which we have. Zip file URL will be zip file URL to use. User ID of the owner. So we will set it to 1, but I want to create a variable and user ID to use. I will use that variable to update the user. All right. Now, why did I do that? Because when I turn on authentication, I can update this to the authenticated user's ID, right? And yeah, so we will just do this. And I also think this should be a post process, right? Post process. What does post process means? Post process means you don't have to wait for this to complete. It will just object. You don't have to wait for this to complete to return a response. So we'll just respond back with true. So basically what's going to happen now is this function, it will run, but the user don't have to wait for 30 minutes to get a response. Instead, we will instantly send a true response, and we will we are updating these things in the background, right? So that means we will be able to show that the model is created on our front end and it's in the building phase. Okay, so add record, and instead of pinging the API, we are now using the test JSON, and we are creating the output object. We're doing this, and this is going to respond with send back the API response object, but it's also going to update the file models. All right, I guess it's time to test it, but I want to go to my database and clear everything in models. So let's go to file models. I'm going to clear all records, file models, boom, 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 reset primary, why not? And actually let's also try to add an authentication so you guys can see how authentication things can work. So instead of setting up constant integer, we'll just use the ID of authenticated user to update this. Okay, now if I try to run this will give an error because this is only accessible to authenticated users. So we gotta find a user. I'm gonna go with user 1, Republic of No Code. Boom, I got a true response. Now I can see it's in the complete or building phase or whatever. If I enable or add like a sleep or delay here, right? Delay, sleep. Yeah, they call it sleep. Let's say the wait is like 5 seconds or 10 seconds. Publish. I'm gonna delete this for now. All right. So this is blank. So when user sends us that image with the model name, right, this endpoint will give us the true statement. But what's gonna happen here? Oh, I think it took the whole. Oh yeah, when we okay. So the problem is when we run this as a when we run this in run and debug, the post process will also try to show up together. But if we try to do this through Postman or something, let me show you a demo. I'm going to disable authentication and I'm going to set the ID to 1 for now. And I'm going to publish. Let me open up my Postman and new request. I am going to post and this will test create, and the body will be this simple JSON body, right? So this is the body. Now if I send this, I won't have to wait the entire 10 seconds, right? Even though there is a wait. So if I refresh, I can see it takes. Actually, I should have added this at the top or like in the middle. Let me do this. Okay. Delete everything. So if I send data now, the endpoint returns true almost immediately, like in 1.5 seconds. If I refresh here, you can see the building phase has started. It has created the zip file. It has started the building phase. All that is good. Now after 10 seconds, it will change to complete. Why? Because we added a manual 10-second delay. Why this delay? It's just for testing. Because when we run the actual API, it's going to take much longer than 10 seconds. So we don't want people to like just stare at the screen. We need them to, go about their day and do whatever they want. And when they return, that is when we will have a completed model. All right. We can add in stuff like email notifications and all that later. But for now, yeah, this looks good. Okay, so create model, that all looks good. Now, next thing, what we for the next part, what we are going to do is we will should we build the Weweb, or I think no, I know what we need to do. Now we need to build an endpoint to delete this model. So people can create the model, people can also delete the model. So when they delete the model, what I want to do is, I think it would be better, at least when we start, instead of clearing the data, we just remove we can add a status like deleted in the log, so that it will not disappear from here. Right, let me send in a test. So instead of status of complete building error, we can add one more status called deleted, because some people pretty sure from my experience of running these apps, they'll just click on delete button and they'll contact support and say, hey, I deleted it, I didn't delete it, your app deleted it, you suck. So in that case, we can restore by changing the status, right? So what we're going to do is, if a user sends in a delete request for a model, then we will delete that. And by delete, what we're going to do is we'll just change the status of this to deleted. All right. So we are going to build that now. Okay. So for that, we will need to build another API. So models, create model. We are going to, actually, it doesn't matter. We just going to create delete model. Well, delete model. Authentication definitely required. And we are going to look for model ID. So from model ID. So from Weweb, we should be sending a model ID, right? And what we're going to do is update. Okay, so first things first, we need to make sure the user who is sending in this request is authorized to change this ID, right? So what we're going to do is get record of models from the model list. We're going to look for this. All right, now if I send, what are the model IDs? Let's just send 5, right? 5. So here you can see this is a model ID and this owned by, we need to check if this owned by is matching the authenticated user's ID. So what we're going to do is we're going to add something called a precondition, right? Precondition, and that precondition will basically look at, okay, we got to add a condition. So fal models get owned by, right? That's owned by equal to the user who is requesting. If it's not the user, then just say not authorized, right? And the error type would be unauthorized. Because there are some smart people who will look at your backend and they can just query your backend and delete everything. I remember buying an app and they had a wide API which I could just delete everything. I didn't do it. Do not do it. All right. So I'm going to switch my user to a different user. So this is owned by user number 1. That is a Republic of No Code. Now I'm going to run. Boom, not authorized. If I were to access this as an authorized user, that means the ownership is verified, then it can proceed. Okay, so this precondition is a good idea. Now what we're going to do is we will update the record, or not update variable, we'll update the record. Update edit. I have a very bad memory, so it is what it is. I have bad memory. I will never remember these commands, codes. That's how I am. Okay, so field value ID would be the model ID, and the only thing we will change is we will change the status from completed or whatever to deleted. So this way, the whole idea is we will just, okay, so and in response we'll just respond true. Okay, true. Okay, now if we send this command fal models, so we have one as an authorized user, and I'll just first send this as an unauthorized user. Boom, cannot do that. You're not permitted. If I send this as an authorized user, I'm gonna get a true, and what's gonna happen is instead of completed, it will change to deleted. And our idea is in the front end, when we pull the models, we will only show models that are we will only show models which can which either has status is building, complete, or error. We will not show models that are deleted. Okay, so that is it. And now I think it would be a good idea to show an image on the front end when we refer to models, right? At least one image. So when we create that model, I think we are better off adding one image to the model. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add a storage for image data, model image. I'll add this. So yeah, we will add a model image. So when we create the model in the create function, right, we are going to take the very first we are getting the zip file URL. What should we do? Yeah, I think we can take one out of zip file, but we are making our server work too much. First we are zipping and then we are taking it out. Maybe to this create model we can send a file yeah, model image. So that's going to be a image metadata. All right, now how can we make use of this? So in our create model endpoint, before we create the zip file, or even when we create the zip file, we can create an attachment. We can try to create an attachment at meta attachment. Yeah, create attachment metadata, and the value would be the first one from image files of 0. All right, file name would be model name. Yeah, file name doesn't really matter. We can use whatever file name they're sending. Okay, so we will do that, and we will send this as model image model image. All right, we'll say that custom, and model image will be model image. Okay, now when we run the function to create model, we will add our model image as model image, the attachment. I know that was too much. So publish. Let's try and run this, see if it even works. I'm gonna run. Received true. Obviously something has gone wrong here, so let's look at this. Stop and debug model image. Here we go, model image. If I gotta take this off. Gotta take everything off of this to test. Yeah, shit. Okay, so something's wrong here, which I need to figure out. Okay, so image files. Oh, wait. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Create attachment. That might not be the function which we should be using. We should be using image, create image metadata, I think, from image files of 0. This will be x1 or whatever. Let's just try to view the whole thing. Image files. Try to view that. Okay, so we have these things. Image files get array no. Gotta look at array functions. Array append count difference entries every filter find index first, right? Okay, so image files dot first. Let's do that. First, see if that creates anything. Enable, and this will be x1. There you go. This was what's needed. Okay, I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna delete this, and create function will go here. This will be called image model image. All right, and we will use model image here as well. Okay, so we'll create the image here, and we will send it as a metadata to our create file. Cool. And then when create file runs, it will take whatever is in that model image and it will just push it here. Okay, now let's run this. Delete everything. Boom, and run. Gets us true almost instantly. So model image, there you go. The first image that was used will be shown as a model image, and we have status completed because we are doing a fake thing. I want to clear all the files now because of my, the OCD or whatever I have. I don't want. So when we start a lot of testing, imagine deleting 200 files, which I promise you we will end up creating that number of files, right? Because that's the kind of testing I do. Okay, deleted all the unwanted files. We just need these. Okay, now delete model. If somebody sends a delete model query, what's going to happen? It's going to, oh, we don't have a model. So let me create one. So a model is now created. I send a ping from my postman. So if a delete query is run, obviously Weweb will send the ID. When I run it, the completed status should turn to deleted, and everything else just stays. Okay. All right. So we created two endpoints, to create model and to delete model. Uh, Sounds cool, right? Or so we can. I'll just change the name to just model, model, model. Okay, model post, and I can change this thing to model. And don't worry guys, I will be changing the names of these when I complete the whole tutorial and publish it, because I know there are some smart people who want to take these endpoints and try to play with it, find vulnerabilities and whatever. That's okay, but I'll change the names. Okay, just to give you a challenge. Okay, so we have two endpoints. We have the model post, we have the model delete. Okay, so we can have multiple endpoints with the same name as long as they are of different uh, argument types. Like here you can see the verb is delete, not argument type, the verb. So post, delete. Okay, so we have a method to create models, we have a method to delete models. Now let's go ahead. I also want to add something. So this Fal.create model, I think the number of steps to use should also be given. Are steps given as text, or is it decimal? Yeah, steps is a decimal. Okay, so we will add a steps to use. I add this tu because step is already used here, right? So it will be confusing. So I will replace this 10 with steps to use, and I will set the default to 10 or something, at least for testing. Now why do I do that? Because now I don't have to look at this function at all. I can control the number of steps right from my, yeah, is this published? I guess. So I can, like right now, if I refresh, I can control this from my main function itself. So step to use, if I want this to be 1000, I can do that. We'll just keep it at 10 for now, right? And we're gonna publish. Okay. So now if I go ahead and fall models, I'm gonna actually delete this. All right, I'm going to go to library and delete a bunch. Right, a photo of every, yeah, none of these are needed. Okay, now the real test starts. What we're gonna do is, instead of sending a fake response, we will do an actual API call with just 10 steps. I think Fal has like $5 or something in there to do this. So let's test that. Fal.ai. Yeah, we just have $1.70. That's crazy. Yeah, I try to create a lot of stuff in there. Maybe I'll add some more balance because I'll have to do this anyway. So let me just add some more. Yeah, I have set up the automated steps. So let's see. Okay, so now we will try to run the real model. Okay, so when we send this model name, image files, it will actually create a model in our file. So let's try that. I'm gonna send this to run. So as soon as I send this to run, which I now think was stupid because post process is going to run through the run and debug in Xano, but I should see a new one created and it is in the building stage, right? Now if I go to my file, I should see a new one showing up. General training was 1 day ago. Okay, what really is happening? File. This has started somehow. It is not showing up in my file. I'm wondering why. We'll just give it some time. Maybe it will show up after that. So I'm gonna pause and come back after a while. I don't know why, but like my file training is not showing anything. So something somewhere is going wrong, and these things are not like instantaneous, right? So what's gonna happen is I want to make a log system where I can see all the generations, updations and everything. This is a good way to troubleshoot stuff. So I'm going to create a log table. Don't need CRUD. And first thing will be source. This is where I can just write whatever I want as source, my comment, and I also want to see the output. Yeah, this shouldn't be text column. This should be a JSON payload. So this way, whatever output is received here, we will log it. Okay, so we're going to add a log function. Actually, let's create a log function. So library functions, and we're going to create a log enable. And what are the things we're going to look for? We are going to look for source comment payload. Okay, source comment JSON payload. All right, so I have these. Now add record to log source comment payload. That is it. Simple function, and this will just return true. Why do I do this as a function? Because I don't want to add this add record and stuff like that everywhere. So I'll just add that function called log, because it, like, when I look at it, it's so easy to understand. Oh, this is a log. If I add record, then I will be a bit confused. So source will be full create model function comment logging each ration output, and then payload would be API response object. Right? Are we using any gets? No. So we'll get the entire thing. Output low. Cool. So this function is created. So now if there are any errors or anything like that, it will log. Actually, let me add a try block, try catch block, right? Try the API request, then do this. All right. Right. Error while create a Fal API. Creating model using Fal API. That's my comment. And yeah, we do all of this here. Okay, so if everything succeeds, we will do this. If things doesn't succeed, we will edit record, but instead of complete, we won't do any of this. Instead of complete, we will do error. Okay, so the user knows there was an error while generating the API. Okay, so that looks good. I don't need any sleep or none of that. I try to run. Step to use. Yeah, now what I'm gonna do is I am going to actually stop and debug to check what is going on with this API response object. So model name Abby, URL to zip file. Let's get a zip file now. Should have created like 2 or 3 or whatever. Yeah, there you go. I have zip file 1, zip file 2. I'll just use that URL. User ID of the owner is number 1. Model image. Null. Let's see if null is going to work. If I run, this has started, right? Flux Lora, general training, but I don't see anything in training history. This worked perfectly yesterday. It's not working today, so it's like weird. Okay, let's try doing this all over again. Fal.run.fal AI flux Lora general training. Okay. Okay, is this the same URL? It is the same URL. Authorization is Fal API auth. That is also set, right? The only thing I changed was the steps. So maybe I will just change this back to 10 manually. I don't know if that's gonna help, but let's try it. Because I tested this this thing multiple times. Now it's not working. Okay. Are there any requests showing up? It's not. Maybe something's wrong with the Fal server. I don't know. So I will have to look at it tomorrow because time is already 3:44. I only get to work like 2 hours on this project, 2-3 hours, and since I'm talking too, it's taking a bit longer than it usually does. So we will look into that tomorrow, and yeah, that is it. Oh, by the way, just to make sure it's not a problem with our API, we can just try to generate an image. It already has a prompt and everything, so we don't need to do anything. Really? API 1. Okay, let's run this. All right, this is also okay. So we got a 200 response. That is good. And we got a response from Fal for the other API. This was the prompt to create things. And yeah, looks like that worked. So if I go to my, where is it? Apps. Yeah, apps. And here, Flux AI general request. This was it, right? September. Oh no. Flux realism. That's what I used. So request, I can see one. September 6th, 3:45. I sent that. So just like that, since we're using the same freaking API here, we should be seeing that here as well. But we're not seeing it, which is concerning, is it not? I will basically remove everything other than just we'll just keep the images data URL and steps rank learning caption image. Yeah, we'll only include these. We will remove everything else. Let me try that. Okay, I'm gonna refresh. And if clone, and I will disable the old one, and we will just remove everything other than yeah, these three. Images data. Actually, let me build this as a param builder variable. All right, so create variable. I'm gonna call it param builder, and I'm gonna do a thing like this, and I'm gonna do image data URL. I'm gonna set it inside this. Set image data URL would be the zip file URL, right? And let me look at the second one. Steps, set steps, we'll just do 10 for now, or we can, if we just do 10, just do 10 because it used to work. So, and the last one is model, oh sorry, trigger underscore word. That would be the model name. Set trigger word model name. I'm going to stop and debug. param builder, and I'm going to enable this. Now, yeah, something is missing. Images, data URL, steps. Gotta add the trigger word. Trigger word, model name. Okay. So images, data URL, steps. Yeah, it's not telling us what's required and what's not. Images, data URL, steps, rank. If I search for rank, right, default is 16. So if there's a default value, then we don't have to really change anything there. Okay, so we're going to send images data URL, and then we are going to send steps, and then we are going to send trigger word, this exact thing, trigger word. I clicked on run again. Oh, no, that's not a problem. Now, instead of doing all of this here, I can just pass the param builder here, and that would work. Okay, cool. I'm gonna click on save, and I'm gonna click on publish, and I'm gonna publish now. Oh wait, I need to disable this. I am going to publish now. Maybe instead of 10 steps, I will do 20 steps. So that will be updated here. 20. Param builder, we are doing 25 steps. Let's do that. 25 steps. Update, save, publish. A lot of people might be thinking, hey, you're using Fal.ai and it's going to be very expensive. Yes, I know it's going to be very expensive, but the idea is to get this going as quickly as possible. I don't mind even if I don't make profits on the very first sale or first 2-3 sales. Eventually, we will move this to a dedicated server where we can self-host Flux Lora and do this ourselves, or maybe make use of Replicate or something, right? So instead of worrying about building all that now, I just want to get this done as quickly as possible. Okay. Playground. Oh, yeah, this is crazy, bro. See how much money was wasted here? Because Fal didn't freaking update any of these. Wow, bro. I am fuming right now, honestly. This is crazy. So Fal was receiving our inputs. Like, look at these. And yeah, so we're gonna lose a lot of money. Let me set our steps to like 2. 5 steps, that's all I need now. Steps to use. And yeah, I don't think Fal would be long term. Looking at the performance, Fal, the AI doesn't look that great. I mean, the process doesn't look that great to me. Okay, so here you can see I just wasted money on this. Should have been just one. Instead, I'm creating how many? One, two, three, four. I guess two more are gonna come. That's all money just wasted. Unbelievable. Honestly, unbelievable. Okay, so yeah, these kind of things happen. So what we will do is we'll wrap this up for today. Looks like the function is working. That's a good thing, right? So tomorrow we will build this into a front end. Uh, Actually, you know what? What I want to do is I want to uh, after after Fal create the builder the files, right? I want to transfer the files immediately after this API. It's going to send us a request like this, right? Show files, show output. Yeah, it's going to send us these things: config and diffuser Loras, right? So I want to take this immediately and send it to a yeah, I want to send it to a cloud server so that I don't have to rely on Fal. So I asked in their Discord, uh, asking, hey, how long will these be available? And the team member, whoever this is, Mender, said, hey there, for now we can only guarantee 7 days. We don't want that. We want to keep it for quite longer. So we will have to use an external storage to keep these things. So we will have to do that, which we will look into tomorrow. Okay, so I am sad that I lost money on this, all right, but it is what it is. We will also look into alternatives to Fal.ai, but yeah. 1 2 3 4 5, bro, that's freaking crazy. Yes, it is crazy. But we will do one more test, all right, from our Bruno. So we are just doing 5 steps. That is fine. We will run it now, and by tomorrow we should have something. Right, so let me go to let me go to let me go to log. Anything here? None. Okay, so Fal freaking lost money, but we're going to send a test model generation again, and let's hope everything works. Okay, so I'm gonna send, and I immediately got a true, and here you can see the model is building stage. Okay, now in the background Fal.ai is supposed to start. It's not starting yet, but it will start in like 20 minutes. I think that these guys are getting massive load because a lot of YouTubers are making videos about Fal.ai, but eventually this will get better. So we are doing a 1 hour time gap or something. Our post function is now running. I mean, post process is now running, and we are in here right now. We'll just wait for this to complete, and then we will do all of these things. And when we do these, we also need to make sure we we download this file and send this to somewhere. We'll take care of that later. So for now, this is it. Speak to you next time.